owl. We're at the Xplorer concept store. I'm going to whip up another little draftfly pattern that worked well for us on a recent trip up in the Injasuti. For the purpose of the video, we're going to tie it on a 14, but 16s and 18s work brilliantly. We're going to be using the Kona size 14. Materials you're going to need for this fly: tail, draftfly neck hackle in Bleach Grizzly. The body is the new Semperfli Kapok Dubbing in tan. Awesome dubbing, super buoyant and very fine. A small underwing, CDC Light Dun, and tiny overwing of elk body hair in light bull. Alright, silk as always 18.0 Nano in black. Without further ado, let's work this one. Okay, catch your thread in just behind the hook eye. Laying down a good thread base. Ending about where the barb of the hook would be. Tail about the length of the hook shank. And I'm quite generous on my tails, probably 6-8 fibers. If you put 10 it may not work. You can use what you want. Alright, catch those fibers in 1 or 2 touching turns, locking it in. I always like to put a small wrap under the tail fibers, just elevate them slightly, and work your thread forward all the way back to the just behind the hook eye. Time for the elk body hair. Small pinch, not about that much. Trim it off. Try and remove the under fibers and little fluffy bits, and drop it into your stacker. A good bang along those tips. Remove it and carefully remove your fibers from your stacker. Should all be pretty aligned. What I find the easiest way to do is just roll it over my fingers and switch them around. Alright. The wing at first can be a bit difficult to gauge, but normally I will go about hook shank length. Catch them in behind the hook eye. Sort of a loose turn and another cinching turn. And cinch down while on them. At this point here, you want to try and cut these fibers off at an angle, just help create a taper in your body. You can clean those up. Generally find if you work over them in loose turns first, kind of grab all the fibers first, and then you can cinch down and then work back up to behind where they were caught in. For a bit of CDC. You don't need much of this at all. What I do is I'll just rip off a couple of fibers off of the stem of the feather. Just roll them around in your fingers. Once again, just use your tips of your fingers just to turn the fibers around. And catch those in behind kinda okay. Don't worry about the lens, the scraggly lens, we'll clean that up at the end. Slowly move your thread back, and last minute remove the excess. Time for some Kapok Dubbing. I lay on a very thin Kapok Dubbing body. Just create a small noodle, very thin towards the back end, and you can bulk it up around the head and thorax area of the flower. Try and close up all your thread, visible thread. Slowly moving up towards where you thought. More dab. If you moisten your fingers, it tends to initially just bite onto the threads a bit better. This Nano still can be a little bit slippery. Once you've got a few fibers attached, you can just slowly bulk up. This Kapok Dubbing is super fine now, so you can create tiny noodles, which is ideal in the smaller sizes, the 18s and 20s. Continue with your body, ending just behind your CDC, and then lifting up your wing. One or two locking turns in there. Thin little noodle. Just pull the wing back slightly. Top turns. And small 3-turn whip finish. At this point you can splay your wing out a bit and remove any rogue CDC fibers. And that's about that. Tiny little draw that seems to have been working very well for me. Hope you enjoy it.